for the winner and the person that was a runner-up. So
that's right.
well.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
Please share what's been happening in the last week.
Well, as you say, we last Tuesday we launched the episode that's going to be shown tonight to the media.
Tonight?
Not tonight, tomorrow night.
Yeah, Wednesday.
Yeah.
Tuesday today.
Yeah. To the media. He's switched on. And then following on from that is Tom, who was the winner of last year. The first time I've invested in a winner rather than a job. Launched his range of now filed products, so that was quite interesting. And he had to get it all coordinated on time to make sure that the website came live and all that type of thing, and the stuff was available in Sainsbury's and all those places.
This is the starting file.
Yeah. He's got three items in the range, and then interestingly enough, I launched another business with Susan Mayer, who's the girl that was the little Chinese girl that was in the Apprentice last year, that actually didn't even get into the very final. Well, she got into the final 5, and there's a case of determination there of a young person who I have not experienced for, well, I would say, for over 50 years, to seeing someone who's worked as hard and as relentless as her in the products that she's come up with. So she convinced me. It didn't take much convincing to go into business with her also. So we launched that product also, which is a skincare range of products, Tropic Skincare.
Fantastic. And if you're taking notes, I'm taking mental notes about determination and persistence, okay? Some things will just slip out. Make sure you get, if I miss it, let me know, right? So one of the interesting things there about investing in new business, I see you as someone, it's about real business, established business, put your time in there, and so on. And so for me, it's like, hearing about you investing in these new businesses, but give people a feel, because I've seen you talk many times about business. What is a business for you? What makes a robust business?
Well, I think that you have to have a good business model. I mean, personally, I'm sick and tired of everybody who wants to come up with some new kind of social media website. I think the wake-up call for youngsters these days is to recognise that the environment in the United States is completely different to here, and that the Zuckerberg story is a 1 in a trillion situation, right? And it is sad that a lot of young people, particularly in this country, aspire to that, and therefore don't get on with starting a business from scratch, a normal conventional business, and hang around waiting for some kind of magical thing to fly across the campus of McDonald's or something, and then suddenly take off. So I think that what we have to instill with young people and business people is that starting a business from scratch with a small amount of money is the right thing to do with your own money, and get this culture out of our heads of that banks have got to provide you the money, because they're not going to. Simple as that. If you have no history, if you don't have a good balance sheet, if you don't have any assets of your own, they're not going to lend you any money. Simple as that. Get over it. It's not going to happen. And there's no good moaning about it, which is what a lot of people do at the moment, saying, oh, the banks are not helping, they're not lending, and all this nonsense. They wouldn't lend because the journalists that are writing about it wouldn't lend you a brass farthing either. If they looked at your business model, your idea, and looked at your collateral and all that stuff. So you need to start something. Think about starting something small. And I think you've always got to focus on, in my opinion, you've got to focus on a weekly review of what you're doing. I mean, not everybody can be in a business which is buying and selling, where there's a bottle of stuff that you buy for £1 and you sell for £2, and therefore at the end of the week you can say, I've made this amount of money. But in businesses like that, it is great to have a weekly or daily wake-up call as to, you know, what targets you're trying to, you know, set yourself. Even if it's, I want to clear £500 a week, I want to clear £1,000 a week, I want to clear a couple of £1,000 a week. The simple maths, if you're selling that bottle there and making £1 on each one, is you've got to sell 2,000. And it's so stupid and so simple and so basic, but I'm afraid people get carried away with themselves with their spreadsheets and business plans and PowerPoint presentations. They forget the basic simple principles. And I always remember thinking to myself, I'm going out on the Monday morning, starting my own business, and I've got to come back at the end of the week and I've got to earn some money and I've got to think about how much margin I'm making on what I'm doing. Yeah. Now, that, of course, it does not apply to every single business in the world. There are businesses, for example, like real estate agents, where you can't guarantee, you can't actually sell something, or estate agencies or any other form of consultancy, where I guess you've got to keep control of your costs and your overheads, but always focusing on the fact, simple as it is, I want to make £1,000 this week, or something like that. That's your targets, that's your goals, and you don't give up until you do it. And stop dreaming about someone else coming in and doing it for you, because they're not going to do it.
I find it quite humorous, and I don't know if people are aware that Lord Sugar became like the czar for youth entrepreneurship, and I think the government wanted you to go out and
well, I did
speak
go
to young
out.
people.
Yeah, I did, yeah.
And then I recall you sitting there and telling it as it is, and people weren't very happy.
No, they weren't happy, no. The Daily Mail enjoyed themselves. They put full page, you know, on the front page, slagging me off on the front page, as those slags normally do.
I see people writing things.
No, you most probably got a Daily Mail journalist somewhere here who's, I don't know if you can smell him, but you know, there'll be some quote from me today taken completely out of context, but, you know, with the power of Twitter now, I've kind of quietened them down a little bit, because when they lie, I've got the right to reply there now, actually, with a population of followers more than their circulation.
At Lord Sugar Twitter. You mentioned young people, and the plan was we were going to take lots of questions from people at the exhibition and put them together, have a good cross section. And most of the questions were all, you know, when I started asking people, it was all about apprentice. So I scrapped that idea, and then what it was, there was a young person that approached me today and said, please could you ask Alan Sugar, Lord Sugar this? And I said, okay. I looked at it and I thought, you know, it's nothing to do with apprentice. Real valuable question, I'm going to ask this. And then very quickly we're going to get into the questions from the audience, okay? So this question is from a young man called A.O. Sage. Is he still in the audience? Yeah. Oh, he's here, okay, right. So here you go, this is what he's put here. Has there ever been a time in your life that you've allowed fear to stop you from taking a particular course of action? If so, what were the repercussions of this, and what did you learn, if anything, from this? First of all, give a round of applause for the question.
Well, I mean, I take it that your question is related to business, really, not. I mean, there's fear and fear. You know, there's fear of going to Spurs and hoping they'd win a game. Maybe. There's that kind of fear. But in business, yes, there's a kind of a fear, a nervousness that you are going to gamble and risk something that could go wrong. Yeah, and so you have to, you know, weigh up in your mind whether you have the confidence in what you've got to do, and go for it. And you don't know whether it's going to work, you know, until you actually do try it. Now, in my case, I can only talk about my experiences, because I've never been a kind of in the consultancy world or agent world. I've always made stuff, and I've always designed, innovated, made stuff and sold stuff, okay? And so my answer to you is really going to be related to those, to that industry. And so fear is when you design a product and you have your own confidence in it, and no one else has seen it yet, and you've got a lot of yes men and yes women around you who are saying it's also great and wonderful and marvellous, but you never know until it gets out there to the public. And so the fear is investing sometime in order to make things at certain prices. You have to make loads of them. You can't make one of them or two of them. You have to make 100,000 or 200,000 of them, and you have to have, you know, the guts to go out and spend that money and know that you're going to have to pay a lot of money, and if it goes wrong, you can lose it. So there's a bit of fear there, yeah, in that respect, yeah.
Thank you very much. Give them a round of applause one more time. I was going to give another prompt from that, but I can already see people waving at me, so it's that type of audience. So here's where we're going to get into Ask Lord Sugar time. So what I'm going to do is, I've noticed that, you know, everybody's waving at me. I'm actually going to start with the people up at the top. And can I just see if we got mic runners up there? Can I see the mic runners? No. Okay, cool.
Yeah,
so here's what's going to happen. Anybody from that section there have a question for Lord Sugar, please? Okay. I saw the person there with the lady in the black there, put her hand up first. Please get the mic over to her. And then I'm going to be coming over to this section here, right? So we'll be ready. Yeah, that person waving at me there, we'll make sure that that mic goes over to them. I'll point them out. So has the mic gone to the person? There you go. Keep going, keep going, keep going. Okay. If you can do it nice and clear, keep it specific. If it's about The Apprentice, I'm sure Lord Sugar's just going to say move on. Okay? So go ahead.
Good evening, Lord Sugar. I'm from Scotland, so I just hope you understand the accent. The advice I would like is, given somebody has come up with a business model designed purely and simply to help young people find inspiration after an uninspirational 11-year institutional organisation that hasn't found the button to push, who would best be the person for me to ask for help?
I think your question is, if I've understood it correctly, is that you want to come up with an organisation that inspires youngsters. Is that what you're saying?
I've come up with a model that will do that.
Yeah. Can I just say, without being awfully rude, right?
Don't worry about being rude.
No, but I've been deadly serious here, right? Deadly serious here. There are too many people doing what you say you want to do, I'm afraid to say. Too many people doing what you... There are so many organisations out there to help inspire young people. And there's loads of them. Loads and loads and loads of them out there. And the bottom line is that you can inspire and you can talk as much as you want, you know, to these young people. But the trouble is they've got to end up going out and do something about it. You see, and no disrespect whatsoever, but there are too many organisations like yours that I come across all day long with people asking me, can I say a few words to this one? Can I give them a bit of comfort? Is there any 10 words that you can say that can inspire, you know, and all this? Apart from me being sick and tired of receiving that thing, I really don't have, I'm sorry to say, I really don't have any advice for you. I know it's not what you want to hear.
Can we give a round of applause for the question anyway? Thank you very much. So who had the mic there? Did I always give the mic to someone? Go ahead. The lady with the blonde hair right in the middle just got a hand up. No. The lady that's pointing to everybody. You. Yes, there you go. Give her the mic, please. No, here, right in the middle. Yes, you. The one that said, yeah, you. Stand up. Stand up. The one that's you. Yeah, stand up. Stand up. Yeah. Give her a mic, please. There you go.
Hi. Yeah, I take on board what you're saying, Alan Sugar, that
you have to put in hard work and be persistent in business. I'm just wondering if in your experience you've come up against a situation where you're working hard, you're putting in the effort, and it looks as though something might come good, but the market isn't there at this point in time. At what stage do you say...
Cut and run.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's it, basically. You know, you can't flog a dead horse, really. I mean, you know, let me put it this way. You have an idea, a concept, you give it your all, and you've got to know when enough is enough. You have got to know when enough is enough, and and perhaps, with again, respectfully, stop blaming economic climates, market changing, looking for excuses why it's not working, and really focus at why it didn't work. Again, going back to, following on from the question of that gentleman over there, using my own experiences is when we made products that didn't work. You know, when I say didn't work, I don't mean technically didn't work, I mean didn't work commercially. And you try your best, you do the normal thing to market them and promote them, and they don't sell. And one of my best attributes was, that's it, we're out. Out, and stop flogging the dead horse and get on, move on to something else.
Can we give the lady a round of applause for the question, please? Okay, one more. Yes, the person waving at me. Yeah, that's it. You stand up. They always look behind, don't they? Yes, you. Let's give the mic to the person. Mic runner. Mic over here. Sorry, you guys, I'm coming to you next, right? Just don't know where. Here we go. Can we get the mic to him? Okay.
Hi, thanks very much. My name's Sebastian. Hello, everyone. Sorry, my question is very quick and simple. Basically, I'm a 23-year-old just starting business, so I guess if you could go back in time and advise yourself as a 23-year-old, now that I'm being older, what advice would you give someone of my age starting? Thanks very much.
Well, I thought I've already did that in one of his opening questions here. I explained that you've got to think about starting from scratch and you know, investing your own money and not expecting anybody else to invest in you, and you've got to, you know, be your own person, have determination and all that. Yeah, I can't add any more to that, really.
Or like one thing that you didn't kind of know back then that you wish you knew. You learn things very quickly. There's not much I didn't know back then that I know now, really. I'm finding your question, maybe I'm a bit fuzzy, I've still got a bit tail end of a virus on me. I'm not quite sure I've understood your question, but what is it back then I didn't know then?
Move on?
Yeah, I think we should move on.
Give a round of applause, please. Okay, let's come down here. Yes, let's take the gentleman who's standing there with that card. Yep, let's give him the mic here. Where's the mic runners down here? The gentleman standing up here. Okay, think about the question you're asking, my friend. Okay.
I thought about it.
These guys make you
Simply,
regret asking questions.
I just want to know what drives you every day. What's your motivation? That's all I wanted to know.
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, that, you know, it is, you know, what gets you out of bed in the morning. Yeah. That's good. I mean, me personally, I like a deal. You know, I like to, you know, see something happen.
I had to run from upstairs to downstairs to get the question, by the way.
Okay. Well, okay. I'm so impressed. Overwhelmed, actually. No, personally, I like to see a deal go together. I like to see, you know, an idea, a concept get off the ground, because, you know, as the obvious thing is, you know, once I made my first bunch of money, you'd say, well, why did you stop then and there? It's because it's inside you, it's an instinct of wanting to get out and do something. And I think that for young people, their goal should be, in my opinion, is their goal should be, that gets them out of bed every Monday morning, is they should be self-sufficient and not rely upon anyone else, and don't have to rely on anyone else. And the way you do that is to think of what you're good at and apply that in whatever business that you want to be in. And you know, you'll soon find out what you're good at and stick at it. You know, don't get involved in things that you don't know anything about. I mean, I can honestly tell you that at a younger age, when I already started doing quite well, and there were some friends of mine around who said, how about trying a bit of this and trying a bit of that? Everything else that I got involved in, that I didn't understand, failed. Simple as that. And so things that just simply become fashionable. I've seen so many young people and so many people start businesses because all of a sudden, you know, this type of thing is fashionable at the moment, and they flip from being a dress manufacturer into somebody that opens a candy store. And I mean, you couldn't get you know a more diverse thing, and they all fail. They fail because you have to become an expert in something, and I'm sure you know that. And normally that follows becoming an expert in something that you're interested in. You must be something that you're interested in, because if you're not interested in it, you're going to fail also.
Give them a round of applause for the question. Thank you for over here. Who've really got a burning question, something that's different? Okay. Yeah, I'm going to come to you guys in a second. Let's get everybody over here. Yes, gentleman here in the yellow tie. Yeah. Mic runner, just here. Give the mic runner a round of applause, please.
Hey, hello, Lord Sugar. I'm Lord Kamer. I live in Hackney. The Lord is because I just bought some land in Scotland, so just... have you checked your...
Pressed again.
It cost me 30 quid, 1 feet of land in Scotland, so I'm a Lord. Sorry. Have you checked your Wikipedia page lately?
Sorry?
Your Wikipedia page, have you checked it?
No, it's you know, it's very inaccurate, isn't it?
Yeah, so I found some inaccuracies. Like, for example, it says that you're...
Yeah, have you got a question?
Yeah, just about that.
Yeah.
Is it
Let's
true
have
that
the
your
question.
estimated fortune is just 100 million pounds and not 700, like you said?
Sorry?
It says your estimated overall fortune is just 100 million pounds, and I think it's a lie. I can fix it for you.
Can I have another question?
How's man getting heckled in this? How is he going to...
Okay, thank you. I'm going to come back to this side. Let's go over
How are you
right
going to
to
get
the back.
heckled in a seminar?
I can't see, but I can see somebody right to the back
Bruh.
waving crazy. The person right at the back towards the door.
Like, say this was comedy, though.
I think that person
Man's
knows
getting
who they
heckled
are.
off, you know.
I've got a business idea coming up here. Microphone movals.
There you go.
This is
Finding
very,
a gap.
very inefficient, I must say, at the moment. You know, you need a lot more people out there. You should pay them a few quid to run the mics around.
Hi there.
Right
Hello. I'd like to ask you a question.
Where are
My
you?
name's Juliet, and I'm interested in and an expert in relationships. And I'd really be interested to find out if you think there are any similarities in having a successful relationship and having a successful business. And by relationship, I mean so your intimate relationship, your partner.
I think that, you know, it's important
Why are
for...
people laughing? It's true. Why are people
It's
laughing, though?
important for a businessman or a woman to have a good, stable home life. But I think the two things are totally different. And certainly an unstable home life, and therefore relationship, is not helpful. You need a clear head to go out in the world and do your business. And one of the ways of having a clear head is the satisfaction that you have a good, happy home life and everything's good at home. And you know, if you don't feel that way, then you know, don't have a relationship. Just concentrate on your business alone.
Let's try this a different way. Where are the mic runners? Make sure I can see the mic runners first, right? Where are the mics? So mic runner here, okay. Mic runner, give to this lady right here, please.
I don't need a mic either.
I see.
Hello, Lord Sugar. My question is that my children and I are both motivated by our personal journey. My daughter missed a year and a half of schooling as a result of bullying, and I had to basically support her through a very difficult period. And as a result of that, she went out and wrote a book to inspire youth to rise up empowered and convert their adversity into empowerment. And the trouble I've had is she's 11. And my son is 7. They've created this book and this app, but I can't get a mentor for her because they're saying they can't mentor people that are under 18. And I
don't have a solution to that.
I was going to say, what advice would you give me to maximise their potential?
I don't know is the answer. I mean, she's a youngster. She's come up with an app. Again, no disrespect to you or to your daughter, but thousands and thousands of people send me emails and pictures and books about that and letters about their apps and all that type of stuff. There are ways of you sticking apps up on the internet and testing them out yourself, and it can be done quite cheaply.
No, the app's fine. It's just I want to get her a mentor to help her become a successful entrepreneur, because I don't want her to get carried away with the success of it all.
Well, I'm afraid it's you and, all of these people here, want a mentor also, and I can't recommend a kind of one-to-one person, really.
Business advice, what you would say to a child or two?
Well, again, you can't get a one-to-one person mentoring people, I'm afraid to say.
That's fine. Thank you very much.
Your round of applause, please. Let's start working through here. Mike runner, please come back through the middle. Right. I'm still going to stay here with this group, and then we're going to come over there.
This fellow is very persistent.
This guy, right?
Give him a microphone. I'll ask this lady. Go on, you can go first. Yeah, stand over there. Okay,
I'm asking. No, she already answered it.
Good afternoon, Lord Sugar. My name is Sophia. I come from China. My question is the simplest one, I guarantee. I wonder if you have half an hour available. Within next 6 months, starting from today, can I please have a cup of tea with you?
No. Can you give the microphone to this gentleman here, please?
Before you ask the question, sir. Listen, no, please. Shh. Here we go.
Can I just, for the record, say that I've come here today to try and promote and help this business seminar here, and I really would appreciate some sensible questions. So this gentleman here, perhaps let him say what he wants to say. Off you go.
So from now on, I want you all to understand, if it's not going to be a question about your business and learning from the lessons that Lord Sugar's learned from his business, we're going to move on very quickly, right? So let's start with
this gentleman here.
Yes, my name is Martin. The only things I will try to cooperate with you, I already create, at least suggest one program on televisions, which was for entrepreneurs and inventors. That was Channel 4, presented by Richard Harman. I stopped that program, and I try to cooperate with, if it's possible, to create new program for digital televisions for under 18 and over 18.
What is your question? Sorry.
To cooperate with you.
No.
To create a new program.
No, she's the same as her. She wants to have a cup of
That's
tea.
a business question. Is that you, sir? Okay, please, give the mic to the gentleman standing up.
Man's doing the Ric Flair after these questions, boy. Woo!
Go ahead, sir.
Thank you, Lord Sugar. My name is Oni Enyado. How important is it for people to understand that as we're entering a new century, for one to be an entrepreneur and a visionary, rather than just relying on a government and jobs, etc., etc.?
Yeah. It's very important, but I mean the problem is that who determines whether you're an entrepreneur or not? It's people that stand up and call themselves entrepreneurs are the ones that I'm very weary about, because it's a word which I think normally should be earned, and I would be calling you an entrepreneur, But it is important, and following on from the theme of what I was saying just now about working hard and doing it for yourself, definitely. Don't rely upon any government to help you, because you'll be in big trouble if you wait for them to help you up with any business ideas, because you just got to take a look at the politicians and you see, I mean, the current business secretary has never been in business.
Give a round of applause, please. It's a business question? Okay, go ahead, give this guy right front.
Okay, Lord Sugar, you were talking about your reason for getting out of bed in the morning. My name's Ivan, by the way. Ivan the Tremendous, as distinct from the Terrible. You're saying you get out of bed for deals. Could you tell us sort of the backstory of the most challenging deal or the difficult deal that you ever did?
I think that, you know, when you start a business, your most difficult and most memorable occasion, I suppose, is when you do the first one. And what is the deal, really? The deal could be as simple as selling your first, bunch of, as like I did in my case, a bunch of car aerials off the back of my vehicle when I went out and took the risk, or in 1966, whenever it was, or 67, yeah, 66 or 67, took the risk of taking 100 quid at those days and buying a minivan, second-hand minivan for 50 quid. And buying some stock with the rest of the money. The stock I bought was something which I understood, to the point I was making to the gentleman over there. So I knew what I was doing. And then when you sell the first lot to your first customer, that's a great deal, yeah? And the transaction might have been worth, I don't know, 3 quid or 4 quid or whatever it was, who knows what it was. And then, you move on 25 years later and you buy a company for £6 million and you sell it to a German company like Bosch for 150 million. That's also a deal. That's quite exciting. But perhaps maybe not even as exciting as the very first deal that you do when you start your business up. I remember walking out of Sky B once with a bunch of corporate lawyers that were with me. I walked away with a deal, one single order for a product for 120 million pounds, one single order. And they were jumping up and down, saying, I can't believe what we've just done. And I didn't think it was anything special, to be honest with you. It's what we do, But it's funny because they were quite shocked at my lack of jumping up and down, high-fiving and all that stuff. Really, it's like, let's get on. Come on, we've got to go home now.
One sec. Lord Sugar, when you talk about deals that don't come off, I know there's a great story you shared once about handheld, palm-held computers. Do you want to share that? Because
well, there's another thing. That's where my culture actually backfired on me. I spoke to a young lady, I think it was a young lady, asked a question earlier on about she was doing something. I was up there and she said she was doing something and it hasn't come off and times were bad. And I think my advice was cut and run. Yeah. And that was my philosophy. And on one particular product category, I cut and run far too early. It was because of the complacency that I got myself into a situation whereby every single product in the mid-80s that we made went off like a rocket and we sold 100,000 a month or something like that. Yeah? And there was one particular product we came out with which was what you will know today as an iPhone, or a derivative of an iPhone. Go back a little bit, it was a derivative of something which you might have known as a Palm Pilot or something like that. And there was that product we came out with, and it was far too early for the marketplace, far too early. We made 100,000 of them, and they didn't sell. that quickly. People didn't understand them, and cut and run. That's it. We're out. And of course, the rest is history, really. I mean, you've got Palm Pilot went on about 4 or 5 years later and sold 20, 50 million of them, whatever. And Apple came out with, you know, similar products afterwards. Yeah.
Applause for that. Let's just come back upstairs. The mic runners up there. Where's the mic runner? Can I see a mic runner? Where are the mic runners upstairs? Who's got the mic? Where's the mic? Okay, brilliant. Just behind you there. Just behind you. That's it. The lady there. Please stand up. That one. Yeah, there you go.
Good evening, Lord Sugar. If there were 5 businesses offering the same product and you were after the product, what quality of the business would determine which one you would
Say again, sorry, if there were 5 what?
If there were 5 different businesses offering the same product and you needed that product, what quality would you look for in that business, i.e. marketing, honesty?
No, I mean, are you talking about me as a buyer in, say, at Sainsbury's, wanting a particular product and 5 different suppliers came to me? Is that what you're saying? Or is that the question?
Yes, which one would you go for? Which would attract you to that? What quality?
Well, I think you know, price is not everything for a start, and it very much depends on the commodity in question or the service in question. But what is important is the perception that you have of that company as to whether they can deliver what they are offering. Is very, very important. That you know, as I say, price is one issue, and of course it's an important issue, but more to the point is that you would tend to choose a company. And I know this is difficult for young startups, but you would tend to choose a company on the fact of what have you done before and who have you sold to before. And that's where it gets hard sometimes for new companies, because if you haven't done it before, you've got to break into somewhere in order to be able to quote where you're breaking into as the thing you did before. So I think what you would need to do is to ensure that you are ready and armed with a kind of portfolio of questions as to, i.e. what's your price, when you can deliver, what have you done before, how are you going to deliver it, how are you going to go about it, how are you going to look after your customer, and how are you going to make that customer feel comfortable in dealing with you. So those are those elements and things you need to put together. As I say, price is most certainly not the only question these days.
Later on, Scott. Okay. Who's up there? Who's got a burning business question? Okay. Can the mic runner please run over to the guy right over there? Right at the end. Let's sit. Standing up right there. There we go. And then get ready down here. Get ready down here. Mic runners, get ready. The next question will be from this lady here, right? So next mic runner, please just get to this lady here, right? We're probably going to take about 2 more after that. So somebody else from around here. Yeah, I hear you. Okay, yeah, let's take. Okay, right, the gentleman right there, right? So that'll be it from down here. I'll take a few more up here. So mic runner, make sure you go there after. Listen, excuse me, sir. Excuse me, sir. We already gave you some time, right? If you can take security, can we have security remove him, please? So,
hi, good evening.
One sec. When you're ready, right? Just a second. I'll give you over there.
Shall I start? Yeah. Right, good evening, Lord Sugar. We've listened to many entrepreneurs in the last couple of days, such as James Caan, who's come in and said he set up his business. He's then moved on to non-for-profit organisations and charities, etc. And so is Sir Richard Branson. Apart from you going out, doing your advice to youngsters in the schools, etc., what sort of organisations are you setting up in regards to non-profit organisations that are helping, I don't know, certain areas in the world, or someone like Bill Gates that's doing work?
Well, I'm to be blunt about it, I'm not. I've got a charitable foundation, and that's none of anybody over here's business, right? And what I don't do is become a goody-goody on Twitter, telling everybody, you know, I'm doing, you know, saving the world. I'm not. You know, I do what I have to do, and I get on with my business.
Okay, thank you. 1 second, please.
Hello, good evening, Lord Sugar. My question is, out of all the things you've done, which is the one thing you'd most like to be remembered for?
Well, the